In today's episode of the Junior PenTester training series, we are going to go through Burp Suite extensions, and this is going to be the very last video for our Burp Suite module in the Junior PenTester pathway of TryHackMe. And so far, we've talked about the basics of Burp Suite, how to set it up, how to install the Foxy proxy, how to capture traffic, how to run the repeater to actually do a variation of attacks, how to run the intruder to run a variation of attacks. And then we talked about all of the other modules, something like the comparer and the sequencer and the decoder and all of those things. And now we just want to talk about the extensions just to kind of give you a full comprehensive perspective of what Burp Suite is, what it does, and what it is capable of. Now, this specific outline for today is going to be the intro, obviously, the extensions interface, the BApp Store, also known as the Burp Suite App Store, Python, which is one of the extensions that's very interesting. I bet you can't guess. It's Python, obviously. Burp Suite API, which is very, very big deal. API is going to be the future of everything, I think, especially as we get more into AI and the integration of AI with tools like Burp Suite, for example. And then we're going to go through the conclusion, do some final thoughts and things like that. This room is brought to us by TryHackMe, created by Muirland and Logic. So very, very grateful to these two right here because they've done all of the stuff that we've used so far with the Burp Suite module that we've gone through. And of course, very grateful for TryHackMe for giving us the platform to learn hacking and to launch virtual machines and do everything without getting felonies, because doing pen testing and ethical hacking and all that stuff against people that haven't given you permission is a felony. So shout out to TryHackMe. I highly encourage you to check them out if you don't already have an account. If you do have an account, then request me as a friend. My username is Hephaestus. So let's see if I can get that for you real quick. And so Hephaestus is spelled like this, right? So this is for the Greek god of creation, the one that created like the lightning bolts and the weapons for all the other gods. So it would be Hephaestus, but the E's are replaced with threes. So threes instead of E's. And you can find me and we'll be friends, and then we'll keep track of each other's progress, and hopefully you'll learn some really, really cool hacking training in addition to all the stuff that we have available on this channel. So that's pretty much it for the overview. Quick note from Hackaholics Anonymous, and we'll dive into it. If you're serious about your SysAdmin education and you want access to me on Discord, consider joining Hackaholics Anonymous. We have 4 tiers: the supporter, agent, guardian, and master. And each tier gets their own Discord server and early access to content. The agent, guardian, and master levels get exclusive content, exclusive downloads, monthly Python automations, live streams with me every month, plus so much more. And to join, you can simply click the link in the description below, or you can go to our homepage and click the join button there, or you can go to youtube.com/@HankHacksHackers/join, and you'll be able to join Hackaholics Anonymous. Now, without further ado, let's dive into the Burp Suite extensions. For the purposes of this video, we're going to be talking about the Burp Suite extensions and the BApp Store, essentially wherever you can get all of the extensions for Burp Suite. And you can technically code your own Burp modules, but it is beyond the scope of this specific video, and it does require that you know more about coding and APIs and things like that. But we will briefly talk about the API documentation and the typical process of adding new modules by using the BApp Store if you needed them according to whatever your needs are and whatever the use case may be. And maybe when you work for a company, they will require that you have certain extensions installed on Burp Suite. So these are all of those things. This is essentially talking about where you can get it. It's not going to be a crazy long video because we don't need to go into too much detail about it. It's just letting you know that this thing exists, the more popular extensions and what they actually are, what you can do with them, and then from there, if you wanted to create your own or if you wanted to download more, how you can find them. So you're not going to need a target machine in this. You don't need a virtual machine or anything, but if you have a copy of Burp Suite, it would be very, very handy. We're going to use the attack box over here, which is the virtual machine, the Linux virtual machine that's been assigned to us by TryHackMe, and this is one of those perks, one of the very many perks that comes with TryHackMe. So we're going to use that just so we can scroll through the BApp Store and of course look at the various extensions that are available inside of Burp Suite. So I'm going to go ahead and launch this machine right here, and then we'll get into it. All right, this is what the extensions interface looks like for the Burp Suite that they were launching at this time when they were creating this room. Now, I believe that the Burp Suite that we have access to is going to be a little bit different because the last few videos that I did, the interfaces look different for me inside the attack box than it did from this room's documentation. So I think there were maybe some updates to the platform itself and the dashboards and things like that. So for the most part, though, all of them have the same functionalities. It's just maybe they're placed in different parts of the screen, or at the top instead of on the side, something like that. But so this is all underneath the extensions tab. So we have all these major tabs at the top, and then underneath these tabs, some of them have sub tabs that you can see right here. So this specific one is for the extensions, and then we have under installed, we can see what may or may not be installed, and then how we can add them. And then there's the BApp Store, APIs, bchecks, etc. So this is it. Burp Suite has launched officially for us. So we're just going to get into the interface itself, and then we're going to go to the extensions to see if it's actually, if it looks like the one that we have in our documentation. I'm very curious about that. But so, okay, we have, 1, 2, 3 right here. So let's go to this list right here. So the extensions list at the top box that displays the list of the extensions that are actually installed in Burp Suite for the current project. It allows you to activate or deactivate individual extensions. The managing of the extensions is done through this element right here, this section with the add, remove, up, and down. So add, obviously, you can install new extensions from the files on your disk, and they can be custom coded modules or modules obtained from external sources like the BApp Store. Remove will uninstall the selected extensions. Up or down controls the order in which those extensions are listed. The order determines the sequence in which these things are invoked when you process traffic. So if you wanted to go through a specific module, or I should say extension, if you wanted to go through a specific extension first, then you need to put it first on the list, right? So they're applied in descending order, starting from the top of the list and moving down. And the order is essential, especially when dealing with extensions that modify requests, and some of those may conflict or interfere with others. Then we have the details, output, and errors, which is this big section down here. You have details, output, and errors, right? So details would be the information about the selected extension, like the name, version, description. Output would produce the output during the execution, and this section displays any relevant output or results. And if there are any errors, it would be inside of the errors section. So pretty straightforward, right? So this is our actual Burp Suite module. So if we go over here and click on extensions, it actually looks exactly the same. So this part has not changed compared to everything else that I did in the previous videos. In the previous videos, there were some other things that actually did change. I think the decoder was one of the ones that the interface looked different. So here we can click on add, but I don't think I have anything on this machine, so I can't do any file selections. It would most likely be something that I would actually get from the BApp Store that we can see right here, and these are a bunch of extensions that already exist, and of course they're ranked by popularity, they're rating for their performance and system impact, etc, etc, etc. So I'm jumping ahead a little bit, so we'll actually get to that portion when we get to it. So are the extensions invoked in ascending or descending order? And of course they are invoked in descending order. So we will go ahead and do that. And so now we can talk about the BApp Store. So if you're watching this and you don't know what an app store is, then we are in a lot of trouble. So the BApp Store is basically the app store for Burp Suite, right? It's the Burp App Store. It allows us to easily discover and integrate official extensions seamlessly into the tool. So they can be written in various languages. For example, Java and Python are the most common choices because they are pretty cross-platform compatible kind of a thing. So Java extensions integrate automatically with the Burp Suite framework. Python extensions require the Jython interpreter. So you need to have Jython in order for the Python extensions to actually work, which is basically another thing that you can just install, and that is also free. So to get a feel for this and install a Java extension, we're going to install the request timer extension written by Nick Taylor. It enables us to log the time it takes for each request to receive a response, and it's particularly useful for identifying and exploiting time-based vulnerabilities, for example, race conditions, right? So for instance, if a login form takes an extra second to process requests with valid usernames compared to invalid ones, then we can use that time difference to determine which ones are valid. So we're going to go to the BApp Store, we're going to go find the request timer extension, click on return extension to view more details, and then click the installed button. So I mean, this doesn't seem very complicated. So let's go and find it. So we're going to go over here, and over here in the search button or search field, we're going to do request timer, I think is what there you go. So request timer, it's actually rated pretty well. We can see right here. So it is a, what's the rating? It doesn't show me. It's like, I think it's like 4.5 stars. I think that's what it is. And so boom, we just click install, and then it's going to go ahead and it's going to run right here. We could see that system impact is low. Do I see the extension installed completely? Was that it? That was very quick. If that are already installed, look at that. That was so quick. Wow. Okay, so I guess it's not that big of a thing, obviously, because we're using a virtual machine, so they wouldn't ask us to install a really massive extension. But even still, honestly, that was really freaking fast. So now we have the details here. Extension type is Java. The file name is here. HTTP handler, suite tabs, etc. So if I click on output, I haven't ran it, so it wouldn't show me anything, and there are no errors either because it wouldn't show me anything. But now we do have it, so that's very interesting. I want to see if we are going to actually get a chance to use it, but maybe not. So after successfully installing it, you'll notice a tab appearing via the menu at the top of Burp Suite. So did we actually get that? Oh, we did. Look at that. We do have a request timer. There we go. We have a new tab up here. It's empty, but we have it. So different extensions may have varying behavior. Some may add new items to right-click context menus, while others create entirely new tabs like this request timer that we did. After this installation, or as this installation is simply an example of the BApp Store, we won't cover how to use the request timer. However, I highly recommend switching to the new tab and exploring the extension to understand its functionalities. But I mean, what can I really see? Like, what, start? What do I do? I guess I would start it, and then I would do something in the background, and it would capture it, and then it would tell me what it is. So I need to actually probably capture some requests in order for this to work. So that's beyond the scope of this. You're more than welcome to do it. If you don't know how to capture a request, that means you've jumped to the end of this training series and you didn't even go through the very first video, the basics video. So go through the basics video and you'll learn how to do traffic capture via your browser or via the Chromium browser inside of Burp Suite. And then from there, before you do that, make sure that you actually install the request timer and then turn it on like we did right here. Click start and then go to the proxy tab, make sure intercept is on, and then open your browser and capture some stuff, and then you might be able to just see some results here. So that would be kind of cool. The request timer can be valuable in various scenarios, especially when assessing web application security and identifying potential time-based vulnerabilities. Perfect. We can now move on to the next one, which is the Jython interpreter, which is very useful if you are going to use Python-based extensions. In my particular use case, the Jython integration has already been done because I'm using the attack box. But if you want to do it for yourself, it's actually very, very simple and straightforward. So to be able to use Python modules, you need to include the interpreter JAR file, which is a Java implementation of Python, and it enables us to run Python-based extensions. So we go through what? We go through their website, the Jython website, which is available at what? Jython.org, very easily. So jython.org/download. Current version is 2.74, and then previous versions, etc., etc. So if you wanted to go ahead and download it, you would then be able to go through the download, the Jython installer, to install it as an application locally. And then I think there's, yeah, the download just brings us over here. There's also the GitHub repository available as well. So if you wanted to get it directly from the GitHub repository, it would be github.com/Jython/Jython, as you can see right here. And it'll bring you into the GitHub repo. And then there's, of course, all the documentation and notes that are available, how to install it, what to do with it, to be able to run it, etc. So this is how we download the thing, and so we can see the Jython standalone is the one that they want us to actually install, right? So look for Jython standalone, and that would be the thing that you would end up using. So Jython standalone jar right here. This is the one right here, and then Jython standalone follow browse for this is also right here as well. So that's the previous version. So probably you want the one that is the most current version of it, just to make sure any bugs or security vulnerabilities have already been patched. And once you have that, you can then configure it in Burp Suite. So you would open Burp Suite and switch to the extensions module, then go to the extension setting sub tab. So let's go to the extensions module, and then we're going to go to the extension settings sub tab, which is right here. We're going to click on that bad boy right there. And then it'll bring us directly to the extension settings, okay? So then we have a Python environment. So the location of the Jython standalone jar file is what we need to look for, right? So scroll down to that section, set Jython location in the location of the standalone jar file field, and set the path to the downloaded jar file. So I guess for us, it's going to be this Jython standalone, but this looks like it was ran on a Windows machine because it's in a C drive. So I'm curious where mine would be. So if I click on select file, where would be the jar file? Is it in my desktop or something? Let's see if I can find it. Let's see where it is. All right, so I did not know where it was, so I did a basic search inside of my terminal to find it. And this is a very easy command. It's the find. So you do find / represents the entire computer. So it's the root, basically the root partition. And we're looking for something by its name. And then I did asterisk Jython asterisk because I didn't know specifically what the file name or the path would be. And then to dev null basically sends all of the permission denied error messages to the dev null location. So this is essentially like the void, basically. They all get just destroyed. They all go to nothingness is when they end up over there. So we have all of these different things, right? And the one that is of most interest to us is the one that is the actual jar file, which is the very, very last one right here. So it's inside of our opt directory, and then Burp Suite community, Jython installer. So, but that's the Jython installer. So I don't know if that's the actual thing itself. So let's see if we went ahead and just ran it. So if I did this, for example, okay, so I was not able to do it via the command lines because I actually needed to go over here and launch it, like run it inside of this location. So I basically came to this location inside of my Explorer. So opt and then Burp Suite community, and then this thing. When you double click it, the wizard opens up, and then you can go through the installation. So I'm just going to go through this installation, and we just want the standard installation. It's going to go into, there you go. So that's, I think this is what I needed because essentially we need the actual jar file, not the installer jar. So this was the installer previously. So we're going to go, boom, there you go. And then we're going to click through all of these things to get this installed. And it should be fairly quick. As you can see, it should run through it really, really quickly. And by the end of this, we should have an actual jar file in the root Jython location, which is what it said it was going to create it for. So if I go back over here while that's running, and let's go to root, because it said it was going to, there you go, it created this location for us. So this is where it is. And then in here, there's the Jython.jar file, which is basically what we would want as our interpreter. So once this is fully finished installing, this would be the path, right? It would be root / Jython 2.7.2 / Jython.jar. That would be the full path that we would be looking for to make sure that this thing is actually available to us. So I'm going to let this finish installing pip and setup tools, which will take probably, oh, there you go, perfectly done. So it's now done. Press finish to exit the installation. So we press finish and we're officially done. So now when we're inside of Burp Suite settings right here, right? So we are now under the extensions, Burp Suite settings for Python environment. When I click this location, now I can go into the Jython 2.2 and then click that thing and open that. And now I actually have my jar file for my interpreter. So now I feel much more comfortable. As we can see right here, that's available right there. So, okay, great. So I don't know if we're going to use it, but we have it. It'll be integrated with Burp Suite, allowing Burp to use Python modules. This integration significantly increases the number of available extensions and enhances your capabilities in performing various security testing. The process of adding Jython to Burp Suite is the same for all operating systems, as Java is a multi-platform technology. So I'm just going to click closed on this because that's basically all we needed. And I'm curious if I go over here if I'll now be able to see like Python type extensions, because everything up until this point or yeah, everything from now up until this point, I should say, was, there you go. Ooh, Jython. I saw something. I saw some kind of Jython thingy. Maybe it was like JSON. Yeah, never mind. I stand corrected. But PyCrypt, there you go. PyBurp, those sound like Python extensions. So I'm sure that we can use them. I don't know if they were here before. I should have probably checked if they were here before we did the Jython portion, but at least now you know how to do it. So in case you ever wanted to do it, you know how to do it. Let's talk about the API of Burp Suite. The extensions module, through that module, we have access to the API endpoints that allow us to create and integrate our modules with Burp Suite. And these APIs expose various functionalities, enabling us to extend the capabilities of Burp Suite. And we can click on API, so let's just do it instead of looking at the screenshot. So here are the list of APIs that we have. So there's the overall Burp Suite set of APIs, and then this also breaks down, and you can click on it, and you can actually see this is, I believe this is actually JavaScript technically, but it is very similar to what Python looks like, because Python also has import commands and things like that, but I think this is actually written in JavaScript, because the comments themselves very much are not what I'm used to when I see Python script. So string JSON, no, that's JSON. It's not necessarily JavaScript. So never mind. But I think the overall script that we're looking at over here, this is definitely JavaScript. Shutdown options, of course, task execute. So this is all in general about the association with Burp Suite. And then it breaks it down to the collaborator, right? And then the various elements inside of collaborator and their interaction with it. And then we can do the decoder, we can do internal intruder, the logger, logging, organizer, persistence, projection, the proxy, right? These are all available to us. The repeater is here, of course. So these are all the things. The repeater has literally one item, but it's probably, no, this is super short too. That's actually kind of interesting. But yeah, these are all of the various files that actually hold the various API calls that you can make inside of the Burp Suite API, right, to the Burp Suite API. So if you go to the API subtab, you'll be able to find all of those things. So Burp Suite supports multiple languages for writing extensions like Java, which is the native language, which is probably why all of those things look like Java. And you can directly use Java to write extensions for Burp Suite, taking advantage of the powerful APIs available. There's, of course, Python, as long as you have Jython interpreter installed. You can utilize the Jython, which is the implementation of Python, to create Burp Suite extensions. And then, of course, there's Ruby, and that would be JRuby, which is the developer for the, or the, not the developer, but the interpreter for that. So developers familiar with Ruby can leverage Ruby and using JRuby, a Java implementation of Ruby, to build Burp Suite extensions. So coding your own extensions can be complex, so just keep that piece in mind, and it goes beyond the scope of everything that we've talked about in this course thus far, and you would need to have a good understanding of either Python or JavaScript or Ruby if you're going to do this, right? But being that we are in this wonderful modern world of AI technology, you can, if you have a clear understanding of the API endpoints and the calls that can be made to the Burp Suite API, you can then go ahead and combine your creativity with a clear explanation for what you want your extension to do, and then give those instructions to something like Gemini or Meta or GPT or whatever your favorite AI is, and have it write the extension for you. And then it'll go ahead and explain what it does and how you can configure it and things like that. So it'll help you with that. And then you can use that as a method of learning more coding, which is how I learned coding, right? I essentially used GPT as my study buddy when it came down to coding. And then whenever I would hit a wall, I would ask it to help me. And then it was just a much more effective way of learning coding, in my humble opinion. So you can do extension development and access all the detailed references from the Portswigger official documentation. Portswigger is the company that created Burp Suite. So through their documentation, through the Portswigger website, you will be able to find everything that you would need to actually build extensions. And the specific path is the portswigger.net/burp/documentation desktop, extend burp, extensions, and creating. So this full path right here. But if you can just get yourself to desktop right here, then you will most likely end up here, and then you can go to extending burp and then the extensions and creating extensions, and you would end up on this page. And the rest of it is just up to you for independent study and all of that good jazz. So that's pretty much it, my dear friend. That is all you need to know about the extensions module of Burp Suite. This was probably by far the fastest video that I've ever recorded, because it was so straight to the point and so simple. And obviously it was just an introduction to the extensions tab, just so we have, again, like a well-rounded complete education on Burp Suite, at least for beginners, right? So this is I would say this was the complete beginner's guide to Burp Suite. There are very many other videos that are available for Burp Suite on this channel specifically, that we've used it for more advanced tactics and exercises, and those were in the pen testing module of TryHackMe, as well as all of the stuff that I did independently myself. This was everything under Jr.PenTester, which is literally an introduction to Burp Suite and the various things that it can do and how you can get access to those things and what each module would do, so on and so forth. So this was not by any means meant to be fully comprehensive and things like that. It's just for people who are familiar with it. This is probably a good review to let you know what was available in case you forgot and you've only been using a few of the features. And for people who are not familiar with it, this is the best introduction that I think I could give you without completely overwhelming you. So the last 5 videos, I want to say, including this one, were videos that would give you a really strong introduction to Burp Suite. And obviously, I'm going to go ahead and combine all of them just so you can have everything in one video and one upload, so you can refer to that whenever you need to, and you have the timestamps in there. So it makes your life a little bit easier if you wanted to just find everything inside of one video. So that'll be available for you as well. We talked about installing and managing extensions from the BApp Store, the integration of Jython to leverage Python modules, and exploring the APIs that allow you to develop your own custom Java, Python, or Ruby modules and extensions. And with all of that, you should be able to utilize Burp Suite extensions and maybe even create your own. And if you create your own, you will definitely make a name for yourself in this community, and you will be looked at as a very serious security professional. So I highly recommend you actually do learn coding. That's one of the things that, even though there is, GPT available and all these different tools that are available that can do it for you, I think it's very important for you to also learn it, at the very least the foundations and the fundamentals of coding, and just pick a language, right? It could be Python, it could be Java. Just pick a language and just get better at it. Consistently practice with it and study it, because it is a really good skill. Even though AI is available and can do coding, it's still a really good skill, because when you understand the foundations, you can give instruction better, and the better instruction you give to an AI tool, the more effective your interaction will be with that tool, and then you'll actually get what you want out of it, instead of trying to just go back and forth and do very, very basic prompts. You can be very surgical, right? You can be very precise and tactical, strategic, and you can go and say, this is exactly what I want in one prompt, and then it'll start giving you some real response and some real feedback. So that's my recommendation to you. Do your foundational studies and establish the basis of that skill set, and then from there you'll know exactly what kind of instruction to give the AI, and the AI will be able to return a much more effective response to you. And with that being said, we're going to click complete, and we're going to be done with this one. If you found this episode useful, and if you found everything that we've done so far inside of this module and inside of this training series useful, I do encourage you to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so that you get notified the next time that a video comes out on this channel, especially with Jr.PenTester, as we go ahead and go into the further modules, and of course with Pentest Plus. So Pentest Plus is dropping every Friday, and so this is the most recent playlist that I've created on this channel. And in a few weeks, I don't know, maybe a couple of months, depending on how quickly I record them, I'm only doing like 1 or 2 recordings for that specific playlist per week right now, but I think I'm going to start putting more and more time and energy into it, and hopefully we'll be able to get it done sooner than later. And if you're a part of Hackaholics Anonymous, you'll get access to all of that content weeks in advance. And of course, there's the documentation and there's the practice questions and everything, the notes and all of that stuff for that training series that will be available for Hackaholics Anonymous members. And it was the same thing for Network Plus, same thing for Security Plus, Linux Plus. People have taken Linux Plus, Security Plus, and Network Plus through this channel, through these playlists, and they've passed their examinations. So I know for a fact that these things are actually super comprehensive and very, very helpful. And if you study them, you can pass your examinations if you want to take your exams. If not, you'll just get a really good education on these different topics, and then you'll just get really, really badass at them. If you haven't gone through CySec 101, that's another really good one. And then of course there's the members only videos right here, SOC level 1, SOC level 2, security engineering. There's a lot of stuff on this channel, and there's more stuff constantly coming out. We're about to hit 400 videos uploaded in less than 2 years. We're about to hit 25,000 subscribers, which is insane to think about, because I didn't even think that I would go past 1,000. Like, I never thought we would go past 1,000, and I'm super humbled, super grateful that we've gotten to the point that we're at. And this happened in a year. Like, the first 6 months of the channel, pretty much nothing happened, and then all of a sudden it just started going crazy, and within a year we hit 20,000 plus. And I'm super grateful, super humbled, and I would love for you to be a part of the community as well. So make sure that you like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so that you get notified the next time that a video comes out on this channel. Drop a question if you have any questions, and that's pretty much it. If you're serious about your SysAdmin education and you want access to me on Discord, consider joining Hackaholics Anonymous. We have 4 tiers: the supporter, agent, guardian, and master. Each tier gets their own Discord server and early access to content. The agent, guardian, and master levels get exclusive content, exclusive downloads, monthly Python automations, live streams with me every month, plus so much more. And to join, you can simply click the link in the description below, or you can go to our homepage and click the join button there, or you can go to youtube.com/@HankHacksHackers/join, and you will be able to join Hackaholics Anonymous. I hope I see you in the Discord chats. If not, I hope I see you in the comment section. It's your boy Hank Hackerson at Hank Hacks Hackers, your favorite network and system attacker/protector. If no one else loves you, Hank loves you. Love, peace, and chicken grease. And I'll see you in the next video later.